true. Yeah, there's always a lot of that. A lot of people said they were going to move to Canada. Well, great. Good luck with that.
But now you're just America light?
Well, you're America communist.
Now.
Canada's nuts.
But now...
Oh, yeah. Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Kennedy and Looney. We've got the Joe Rogan experience coming up here. Joe gets something wrong. He's been getting this one wrong, but he figures it out for himself on the show. I was glad to see this. It's always interesting to see him talk about Canada, because sometimes he knows exactly what he's talking about. Sometimes he has to figure it out. Let's take a look.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
Exactly. That's true. But at least
now
they
you
left.
gotta move to a new place in England.
Hundreds of celebrities said they would leave and didn't.
That's true. Yeah, there's always a lot of that. A lot of people said they were going to move to Canada. Well, great. Good luck with that.
But now you're just America light?
Well, you're America communist.
Now.
Canada's nuts.
But now you're, like, still reliant on America.
I know a stat that I wanted to look up that I just read. I put this into perplexity. 1 out of 20 deaths last year, I read this article that was saying was assisted suicide. That can't be true. That can't be true.
Where'd you see it?
Because Canada has an assisted suicide program, a national assisted suicide program. Yeah.
Could you imagine if there's some corruption in that? Holy crap.
There's corruption in everything,
right.
Jeff. Everything.
Matt, that's a
thing. There's corruption in religion. There's
sure.
Right? There's corruption in science. There's corruption in medicine.
Which becomes a great excuse to not be a part of those things, you know? Oh, I won't even question if I have a creator because there's fouled people in the church. You're like, that's so stupid.
Well, yeah.
It's accurate for Canada.
Wow. No, of course not America. Canada.
I know, just
It's Canada.
Yeah.
Let me see
That's
the
still
numbers.
a lot, isn't it?
Put those. Show the perplexity. Look at this. This is crazy. Medical assistance in dying, known as MAID, also as known as assisted suicide or euthanasia, accounted for approximately 4.7% of all deaths in Canada.
That's wild.
That is so crazy.
How do we get more specific? Like, what would be an example of how?
We'll read into it. This proportion is equivalent to about 1 in 20 deaths across the country. That is so fucking insane. 1 out of 20 people who die in Canada are getting assisted suicide. How many of those people you could have given mushrooms to? They could have had an ibogaine journey. Maybe they could have done something differently with their life to get them out of depression. How many of them could have gotten alternative medical treatments that have dealt with their condition? So what are the conditions? Did you put that in there, Jamie?
Average age of them is
77.
So they're
pretty old.
Yeah, that is old. But however, my mom's 80. She's great. Like what's going on?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to. Like what?
Like
what is it? Are you not just because you're 77? Are you not enjoying life, or is it 1 out of 20 people are dying of a terminal illness? And I am being short-sighted because they're like going to die soon anyway. They choose to die on their own. Is that the case?
Track 1 is natural death is reasonably foreseeable, and track 2 is not reasonably foreseeable for natural death.
Right. So track 2 recipients, this is where it gets weird because some of them were chronically obese. Some of them were chronically depressed. They were doing it for people that don't really have a disease. So what are the parameters? Let's put this, ask a follow-up. What do you have to have wrong with you to qualify for MAID in Canada? Let's just ask that.
How do you qualify for MAID?
Because if it's just you're depressed.
That's scary.
That's crazy.
Right, and very irresponsible. If they have cancer and they're trying to just like, I'm done with my fight, please help me.
Right.
Is what track 1 is,
That
but we're
makes
talking about
sense.
track 2.
Be at least 18 years old and capable of making healthcare decisions. Be eligible for publicly funded health service. Okay, that's normal. Voluntary request. Informed consent. Have a serious and incurable illness, disease, or disability causing enduring and intolerable suffering that cannot be alleviated under conditions acceptable to the person. But that's the key word, the key phrase there. Acceptable to the person is interesting. Be in an advanced state of irreversible decline in capability. Okay, are people with depression, just write severe, are people with severe depression eligible for MAID? Write that. Severe depression. Because you know, a lot of people would say that is an incurable disease. Where would we be without the red squiggly line? I don't know how to spell anything
I can't
anymore.
spell anything, ever. I never have been.
Jamie, you're rolling the dice with eligible? You're an animal.
It knows.
In Canada, people whose sole underlying medical condition is severe depression or any other mental illness are currently not eligible for medical assistance in dying. This temporary exclusion includes psychiatric conditions like depression and personality disorders. The law excludes eligibility for MAID on the basis of mental illness alone in March 17, 2027. However, people with mental illnesses may be eligible if they have a grievous, or irremediable. Boy, that's a word. Have you ever said that word? Irremediable?
No, dude.
Irremediable. I've never
You know
said
what
that
you're
word.
talking to. I've never said
Physical,
that.
but I've never even seen that. Irremediable. Physical health condition that meets MAID's criteria. The government has delayed eligibility expansion for mental illness due to concerns around safety and appropriate safeguards. When MAID for mental illness becomes legal, they say it like it will be.
2027 March.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's what I'd read. Okay, this was the issue. So they were going to. Okay. The law excludes eligibility for MAID on the basis of mental illness alone until March 17, 2027. So there's a year and a few months, and then these people are eligible for this. As of
Numbers will go
2025, severe depression alone does not qualify. So what it seems like is a lot of people that are just not doing well. It's the end of their life, and they're like, I'd like to go out on my own terms.
That's fair.
I don't want to just walk into a library with a 44 and make people clean up.
Or they go, I'm a financial burden on my family. Or,
Right.
Or those kind of things.
Yeah,
When you're an
right.
old person, you feel a little guilt that, like, my kids.
That's true. And also, sometimes people, like, one of their loved ones dies and they don't want to be alone. They just
Right.
can't. They've been with this person for 45 years.
My dad just
That's
died,
enough
and
of
my
that.
mom is not doing.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein? More than just elbows.
And this is what is going on in the United States right now. This is the biggest headline-catching story down there. Who knows?
Dump is reigniting questions about U.S. President Donald Trump's ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Some of them suggesting Trump knew more about Epstein's abuse than he's admitted publicly. Among the more than 20,000 pages released by House Democrats and Republicans are emails between Epstein, who died in jail in 2019, and his associates. In one email to a journalist, Epstein, referring to Trump, wrote, "Of course, he knew about the girls." The documents were obtained by subpoena from the Epstein estate and have not been independently verified. Jackson Prosco has our top story on those emails and how the White House is reacting.
The thousands of emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate show the convicted sex offender mentioned President Donald Trump repeatedly.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong.
In one 2011 email to Ghislaine Maxwell, his convicted co-conspirator, Epstein wrote, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump," adding that an unnamed victim spent hours at my house with him. Republicans claim that victim is Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's most prominent survivors, who previously said she never witnessed any wrongdoing by Trump before her death by suicide. In another message from 2018, Epstein wrote, "I know how dirty Donald is."
It's clear that Donald Trump had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein is talking about, I think, pretty serious stuff, disturbing stuff in these emails.
On social media, Trump called the latest revelations part of the Jeffrey Epstein hoax.
A lot of pressure now needs to try to be put on the Department of Justice to release more and more documents so the public can really understand exactly what the breadth and nature of what happened with the whole Epstein situation.
On Capitol Hill, that pressure is building. Epstein's survivors appeared for the swearing in of a newly elected Democratic representative who becomes the final vote needed to order the release of the Epstein documents.
Justice cannot wait another day.
Meanwhile, scrutiny is building around the preferential treatment given to Ghislaine Maxwell. A whistleblower claims she's being waited on hand and foot by staff at the minimum security prison she was transferred to. She's said to be working on an application for presidential clemency, something Trump has not yet ruled out.
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it.
There's little doubt the Epstein pressure is getting to the president. The White House acknowledged that Trump met privately with several Republicans who've joined with Democrats to support releasing the Epstein files. On social media, Trump wrote, "Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap." Donna?
All right, Jackson Prosco in Washington, thanks.
All right, folks, just a couple of more videos to go. We've got Shannon Stubbs, the slickest mouth, the slickest tongue in the House of Commons. Guaranteed, this woman is articulate with her words, very sharp. We're going to follow up Shannon Stubbs with MP Jamil Jivani, one of our favorites to watch on here. He's always gives a little hope, a little light, like times are tough in Canada, right? Let's take a look at these two pieces, see what we learn.
These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.
And Canada's broken because we're stupid. Okay? Canada's broken because we're stupid.
Well, after 10 years of this Liberal government, the elites and insiders have never had it so good, have they? And if you thought the last guy was bad, well, this Prime Minister, Mark Carney, is stacking his government and big taxpayer-funded agencies with his globalist buddies and corporate elites all over the place, using your tax dollars to do it. Get this. It came out that the Liberals paid out big taxpayer-funded bonuses to bureaucrats for virtually no real work. At the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, whose whole job is supposed to be to make housing affordable, but there's a housing crisis in every corner of Canada right now. Imagine this, executives pocketed $30 million in bonuses paid for by your tax dollars. That's about $42,000 each. At Export Development Canada, 79% of executives cashed in on bonuses averaging $143,000 each. Then over at the Business Development Bank of Canada, executives took home an average of $216,000 in bonuses. As if bankers deserve more bonuses when, because of these Liberals, Canadian small businesses are going under in every part of the country. It's a colossal failure, but they're getting paid with your tax dollars for it. And in Mark Carney's new Defense Procurement Office, of course, he's hired one of his banker buddies, and he's paying him $679,000 a year. That doesn't even include bonuses, which I'm sure he'll also receive soon. And what a shame that during Remembrance Week, when all Canadians are supposed to be honoring past and present Canadian service members who fought and fight for Canada bravely, Mark Carney is instead choosing to pay his Bay Street banker CEO buddy almost $700,000. Meanwhile, the Auditor General reported that many of Canada's serving soldiers are living in military housing that they describe as, quote, having unsafe drinking water, toilets that don't flush, and deteriorating walls. Some support for our brave Canadian Armed Forces members and the people who love them. But of course, these Liberals have a track record of making life more difficult for Canada's soldiers, especially for Canada's veterans. Meanwhile, in Carney's new Major Projects Office that he set up to fake to you that big projects will get built at, he said, speeds never seen before, except that, of course, the only thing that's happened so far is approvals of already approved projects and approvals of second phase construction that should have been approved in the first place automatically anyway. The head of that office, which Carney has been planning for up to 7 months, is getting north of $577,000, while all the stats show that Canadians working in natural resources jobs all across the country are about to lose them at higher rates than ever before, precisely because of the last lost anti-development Liberal decade. And if you're wondering why there's a pay gap between those two bigwigs, well, the Liberals' track record on how they treat women speaks for itself. Can you say fake feminists? Each one of those payouts could have been a down payment on a first home for a young family or a single Canadian who deserves to be able to work hard and put away money for a home, for rent or a mortgage they can afford, or for families who are struggling more than ever before, or imagine for a tax cut so you can keep more money in your pockets in the first place instead of it disappearing into the black holes of government where it's used to pad the pockets of the buddies of this Prime Minister. Meanwhile, the youth unemployment rate in Canada is now a staggering 15%. After a decade of Liberal failure, young people are being forced to move back into their parents' basements. Rents and mortgage payments have doubled. Home prices are up over 50%. And this is really chilling. But 700,000 kids are forced to rely on food banks every single month. Canadians are going to food banks after work, not grocery stores anymore, because of these Liberals. And what does Mark Carney think the solution is? Well, according to him, you need to make more sacrifices. And he actually said it himself. He doesn't think you've sacrificed enough. So when the Prime Minister says Canadians have to sacrifice, he doesn't mean his rich corporate friends. He doesn't mean the executives. He doesn't mean the insiders or elites. He means the young Canadians and the struggling Canadians who have given up on the dream of ever owning a home, the millions of Canadians lining up at food banks, and the families that are skipping meals because of skyrocketing grocery prices and having to choose between heating, eating, driving, or housing themselves. This is the Liberal reality, while Canadians struggle because of them. Carney's insiders cash in millions of your taxpayer dollars, while young Canadians lose hope. The old boys club, well, they just get richer courtesy of this Prime Minister and your tax dollars. So you know what? This is the truth, and we all know it. Only Conservatives will bring jobs, growth, hope, and homes to Canada to put Canadians first for a change and for an affordable life for everyone.
Oh, yeah. Let me finish by pointing out one other thing. Who's the worst person to stand up to Donald Trump? It's Pierre Poilievre. He worships the man.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm on the edge of my seat, actually. But thank you for your hospitality and above all for your leadership. You're a transformational president.
I did apologize to the president. President was offended by the act.
Young men across Canada are facing a crisis. Government policy is holding young men back from living up to their potential. It's heartbreaking, it's frustrating, and we must do something about it. Young men need to get active, speak up, organize, tell the truth, and be undeniable. I want you to hear from some of the young men across our country and hear their stories, hear what they're going through to understand what fuels us to fight for the future of this country. I want to introduce you to Jagger, a university student we met in Guelph. He dreams of starting a business, and he worries that economic policies in this country will hold him back from living up to his potential.
Hi, my name is Jagger Lefebvre, and I'm building a company to integrate Canada's data into smarter systems, linking healthcare, transportation, infrastructure, and public services, so the government and businesses can make faster, safer, and more effective decisions. Right now, though, I can't work with the government because policies and barriers restrict data movement between provinces and entities. These rules, once protective, now really hurt us. For example, Canada is 30% less productive than the US per hour. Ontario loses $56 billion a year to inefficiencies, and 30,000 Canadians die every year just waiting for healthcare. I believe that by rethinking these barriers, we can unlock Canada's potential safely, build Canadian-led systems, and transform our economy while keeping our data sovereign and secure.
Finally, we have Sammy, a university student from Newmarket, who is anxious about his future despite the fact that he's working hard in school every day.
My name is Sammy Hossenport, and I'm a second-year student at the University of Guelph. During the summer, I worked over 40 hours a week as a painter. I was proud of the work that I did. I was proud of the fact that I was providing a service to other people. However, it really opened my eyes to the reality that young Canadians are going through, and that is making ends meet. I believe rent, groceries, affordability in general has spiraled out of control. And if the pattern continues to go down this way, I believe young Canadians will struggle even more than they already do. And I believe there needs to be a change in government and there needs to be a change in policy.
My hope is that you learned something from listening to these stories. And my hope is that any young man watching this video understands you are not alone. There are young men across Canada who can relate to your feeling of frustration. There are young men across Canada who are similarly being held back by the status quo. And my dream and my hope as a member of Parliament for Canada, representing the wonderful people of Bowmanville, Oshawa North, is that we will draw attention to what is happening in the lives of young men across this country so that all Canadians, regardless of your generation, can understand that change is needed. We don't need to be finger pointing at the young people who are working hard. No. What we need is to be creating opportunity so they wake up every day knowing that hard work will pay off and that they will have a bright and exciting future in Canada. Let's keep working hard. Let's work as hard as these young men are to restore the promise of Canada. God bless you and God bless our great country.
I personally find it very confusing how any liberal voter, like, I'm sure you're naive, like, it's okay to be duped. I've been duped. I voted for Trudeau in 2015, believe it or not. So it was a big mistake. I wasn't watching or paying attention then, but I have been paying very close attention since 2023. And let me tell you, these guys don't care about your future. They want your money in their pockets, your future, your kids' future, your grandchildren's futures in their pockets. See what they're doing to Canada with immigration. See what they're doing with housing. Check out what they're doing with our health care. What is better than it was in 2015? Absolutely nothing. It's confusing to me. On a lighter note, my name's Aaron. This is Canadian Loony. I work very hard at this channel, and believe me, I'm not a conservative. I will be voting that way. It seems to be the only way to get out from underneath this liberal conspiracy to destroy our way of being. And if you think like, oh, I don't want to admit that I was fooled or that I was raised liberal, so I'm still a liberal, change it up, because they have no plans for your future except lining their pockets with your tax dollars, laundering that money, spending it in other places so Mark Carney, Justin Trudeau, all these hack bullshit ministers can get richer on your coin under the guise of being incompetent or negligent. Like, it's not that. They mean to be doing what they're doing, and they're pulling it off. There is no future for Canada under this government. So I watch all the committee meetings. I watch everything that happens in the House of Commons. I also follow the propaganda-driven news of the legacy media that is paid for by this government to dissuade your mind into some kind of trick to think that they're doing it for the benefit of you. It's not for you. Liberal voters, I'm speaking right to you. Please watch the politics, not the news. Like, watch the independents on YouTube. Do anything other than what you're doing, because if you're still being duped and not aware that you're being fooled, that's a huge issue. My name's Aaron. This is Canadian Loony. Like, share, subscribe. I work very hard at this channel. Believe it or not, I spend 12 hours a day, 7 days a week at this, because it takes a lot of time to watch all of the politics. But that is where you get your real information. So I would appreciate your subscription. I know that a lot of people that watch this channel, 60% of the people that watch my channel aren't subscribed. I need you to subscribe. I'd like you to subscribe. I'm asking for that because this stuff is so censored, which is a part of legacy media, that it's hard to get any kind of word out. I know that there's other platforms. Just go to that. I know that a lot of people, liberal voters, watch YouTube, and I'm hoping they'll catch some of this and become informed. Learn a little more, because again, it's not a liberal conservative thing. It's an evil versus good thing. I'm not a conservative. Like, I will be voting that way because we need to get out from underneath this elephant that keeps squashing us. It's ridiculous. Please like, share, subscribe, get notified. Come check out one of our live shows. We cover Canadian federal politics right there, and I think you'd enjoy our chat room. It's the best that I've seen online. That's it, Aaron, Canadian Loony. Like, share, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video. We're gonna wrap it up right here. Out for now. Thanks for watching.